Hello everyone, I'm Nabeel. I'm the CEO of Pedesting, and welcome to Pedesting's podcast series on accessibility. I'm pleased to be from Scott Hutcheson, the executive chair of Aspen Properties, and I'm Scott. You've been a wonderful partner of Pedesting, so thank you for joining us today.
Yes, yeah, it's a thrill to be here.
Yeah, I wanted to talk to you today because you're so involved in the community, you're so engaged, so I would love to hear your perspective on how you think about community as a whole and how accessibility plays a part in it. So, I would love to get started by talking about the downtown core, how it's essential for any city, and how you own many buildings downtown. So, we built Aspen to be a well-respected real estate company, and how do you approach property ownership and placemaking?
Sure. Well, first of all, I think we all play an important role in trying to make sure make sure our community's thriving. And the greater responsibilities we have in our community as business leaders, the more we need to give back and to lean into our community, to become educated and to lead in important ways. So I think that's a given. I think that's what we all owe to our community. And when you do that, you just get back from it. But, when I think about how the downtown's changed over the course of the last couple decades, Calgary really got hit hard in 2014. The financial global crisis didn't hit us quite as hard as a lot of the places in the world, but in 2014 we got hit really, really hard with a change, a complete shift in the oil industry in Canada due to Canadian policy. If you're an owner of downtown office buildings, we lost 50,000 people jobs in our province, and a lot of those were in the downtown. So we shifted in the way we think about amenities in particular, and that allowed us to take a whole new look at what we needed to do to provide office space to the community. And we can get more into that later, but it was a shift in 2014 that was really, really important.
Yeah, I was going to say, how do you inform your approach? How do you come up with that is kind of, what you want to focus on amenities?
Sure.
Like what signs did you look for
Sure.
to help you guide that approach?
Well, we all dropped our tie. Most of us dropped our suits, 10, 12, 15 years ago. And we realized to provide good office we didn't need to provide corporate. We actually wanted to provide anti-corporate. We wanted to provide new, cool spaces that are interesting, that there's things to do at the office. We felt we needed to pay the employee for their commute to the office. And how do you pay them? You pay them with amenities, you pay them with new, cool spaces that look different, that are fresh, not corporate, but playful. And some of the amenities that I can talk to are things like golf simulators, but it's also accessibility. The opportunity to provide proper accessibility is one of the important amenities that we realized we needed to do better at, and that was in part through our introduction to you.
Oh, that's fantastic. So, with real estate property, it's tough to make those paradigm shifts. So how often do you change your approach? Do you think about it methodically, or when you see a good idea, you try it and you see how it responds?
So I'm lucky to have two really great partners, and they challenge me and I challenge them, and our team has this culture of challenging all the time, make sure we're fluid and we're looking for the next opportunity before it arrives. when I started work in this industry 25, 26 years ago, when we started Aspen, we wanted to follow because we couldn't take risks. Today we want to lead, and we want to think about where is the community going? Can we get there and lead the community to where it should go? So today we're leaders in the industry, and we're happy to do that, and we're constantly challenging ourselves to find the new way to think and new way to provide offices, and what's not just current, but what's coming tomorrow.
Yeah, that's amazing how you kind of real focus on creating a great experience when you are entering into a space. And so, how to balance, what that experience looks like for, the people who work in that building, visitors. You have a really unique building here at Aspen where you have an event space. So in your mind, besides amenity, what fully creates a great experience?
Sure. Well, certainly the feel in that space. If it's not fresh, and if it's not current, and if it's not accessible, and if it doesn't have amenities, your building is missing the appeal to the tenant today. And let's talk amenities now, Nabeel. The statistics that you and I have read is that 15% of the population has either mobility or sight impairment of some nature and or disability. And if that's the case, 250,000 Calgarians are challenged with their downtown accessibility. Something like 6 million Canadians are challenged by that, and 1 billion something people around the world. So if that number is even close to being true, and we know it is from Stats Canada, then what are we doing to address that certain population? And it not only feels good, but it's economically appropriate to bring 15% of the population into the fold that couldn't 15 or 20 years ago.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, Scott. Like, as a recall, we often have conversations about representation. And we quite often ask ourselves, if it impacts certainly people, what are there? So I'm so grateful that you and Aspen have taken that leadership and see that there's marketplace. So I kind of want to dive into that a bit more, where we get a lot of questions. Well, we, typically accessibility is considered a compliance, but now morphing into the ESG conversation. And accessibility is part of it. So how do you tackle accessibility and the ESG aspect?
Sure. The S&G, the social component of excluding 15% of our population, doesn't make any sense to me as a leader in the community. So not only should we be including as many people as possible with all walks of life, but it feels good. The social piece of it, it's appropriate, and it feels good for our business to be inclusive generally. But it also pays for itself. I mean, if we think about a percentage of the population that doesn't bring activity to our downtown, they can't invest in the downtown, they can't go to restaurants, they can't get from one office building to another. That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
We got to get everybody in and around our downtown to create the life, to create the economics, to create the social, to create all the good things that come with all of that.
And I will maybe love you to tell the audience about kind of the impact that you've seen from little e-cafe down the main lobby of Ampersand, and what kind of impact that you've seen little e has on the community.
Sure, yeah. Little E has a lot of followers on social media, and my partner Greg and a friend of his thought about what we were missing in our community. And one of the things that people with disabilities sometimes have is the ability to get their first job and to be trained. And as soon as they've had their first job and they've been trained, they can go on to a second and a third and a fourth job and grow. But that real boundary was in the first job. And so Little E, which stands for Little Emma, was the daughter of a friend of ours, and he had the idea, and we combined with him, my partner Greg, and he did the brainstorming and said, we got to have a cafe that can train younger people with disabilities and provide that. It's both an amenity and it made our organization, it made the people at Aspen proud that we were investing in this part of the social network of our community. And by the way, it changed the whole feel in the lobby of the Ampersand. And these are the sorts of things that if you're investing in social, if you're investing in the community in the right ways, and you're being inclusive, the compounded effect is just remarkable.
Yeah, I've seen that this is why, like, I'm always proud to celebrate Ampersand and Aspen being, true individually in many ways. Not just adoption and technology, but the feel and experience of entering a space. And to me, when you enter a space like this, it just feels good. You don't know why sometimes, but
Sure.
Because, for example, this morning when I came before meeting you, I said, what? It's a beautiful space. Well, I have my morning coffee here instead of, at my office.
Sure.
I love being in the space. So I think you've done, you and your team have done an amazing job. So I want to dive in a bit more on the economic side, but how do you measure the feel and the holistic experience? Are you seeing increased rates, or how do you, what the success that to you when you think about making a holistic experience the best it can be?
So I just heard you say you enjoy the Ampersand and you want to be here for a coffee. How wrong would it be to not allow the community to come here? It'd just be wrong. It'd just be fundamentally wrong. So the whole community, everybody that we can get to the building, it's economically appropriate, and it's just the right thing to do. So we invested with the Pedesting a long time ago, 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
After I met you and we started talking about it, it wasn't long before I said we got to have a piece of this.
Yeah.
And I'm just so glad we did, and I'm hoping that more landlords and office owners and community builders and the city and the province and the universities can see that we've got to have accessibility for all.
Yeah.
And it feels right, it looks right, it adds activity, it adds economics, it adds all the things that we need to have in our buildings.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. And so, I kind of wonder, ask a related question that where, you vision downtown cores, especially Calgary, in the next 5-10 years, and you want to create a standout space of building. What does that look like
So
for you?
So I don't know exactly what it looks like, but I can say this. Light is important. Architecture is important. Accessibility is important. Good quality air is important. How we interact with the environment. Are we hurting the environment, or are we doing minimal damage or helping the environment? So we're going to continuously, in this industry, we will continuously challenge ourselves to do the right thing in the environment, to do the right thing with our materials to heat and cool and operate our buildings, provide the best quality air, the best light, the best accessibility. Those are the things that will continuously push us to be good at providing interesting, accessible, amenitized space in the future.
Oh, that's great. Well, everyone will say, thank you so much for your time, Scott. Saying it insights and really truly be one of the innovative real estate companies in Western Canada. So thank you for your leadership and partnership, and I will certainly have more to come.
Oh yeah, we'll be doing a lot of business together, my friend. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for being a pioneer in our business and bringing something that we really need to the fore.